Hello world, my name is Victor Engelmann. Welcome back to the series on professional network design using Linux. Today I want to show you how to log into a Samba server using Kerberos Authentication. Well, Samba of course is this server system that allows you to connect to Windows machines or vice versa. Connect to Linux machines from Windows machines, right? And yeah, actually I wanted to make this video a long time ago, like 3 months or so ago, but yeah, the problem is that Samba had changed a few things, and what I wanted to show you just didn't work anymore, okay? And because of that, I want to show you first here on ubuntu.com. Usually you have really good tutorials there, but yeah, in this case, Samba/Kerberos, this was completely wrong. Like, there were so many mistakes in here, and I mean, this tutorial is from 2012, right? So no wonder that it's a bit outdated, but yeah, these changes that Samba made really makes this stuff here just incorrect, okay? If you follow this tutorial, you will not get to a running state, okay? So just a heads up here. But yeah, let's get started. First of all, I'm again on this Raspberry Pi that I have named Kerberos 5 SSH server that also runs my SSH server, and where we also installed the SQL server, and now we will install the Samba server here. Again, this machine is already joined to my Kerberos realm, okay? So Kerberos is already configured here. Remember that if you don't have that in your machine yet, then you have to configure that first. My video on Kerberos shows you how to do that. But yeah, now let's first install a Samba server. Okay, and now let's look into the configuration of Samba. That's in etc samba smb.conf. Okay, what do we have here? Well, I will leave the globals untouched for now, except, well, interfaces. Looks like this wouldn't allow us to log in remotely, so I'm going to turn off this. And down here we have these shares, right? This is the shares definition. If you've ever worked with a Windows network, you know that yeah, in a Windows network you have to explicitly create a so-called share, yeah, maybe for your entire hard disk or for a certain directory or whatever. But yeah, then when you log into that machine, then you will first only see this list of shares, okay? So this here is a share for the home directories, which will allow us to log into, or to go into the home directories of the users. If you don't want that, you can just remove this share. Netlog on profiles, well, printers and print shares your printers. But yeah, let me start by creating a new share, which I will call KRB5 test. Okay, that's the name of the share. And then we have to set a few values. Yeah, the comment, let's say hello, path, What should we use for the path? Well, today many Linux distributions have a directory srv for root directories of certain server programs, and I will just create server Samba later. And yeah, let's also name it according to the share, krb5 test. Okay. So this is a directory that we will share. Well, at users, I will just set to add users. This means that, yeah, basically everybody can see this share, but well, to access it, you still need access rights. Okay, so I think it's okay to put users here, and yeah, otherwise you can also list users that you want to have like this. Okay, with just separated by white space. Create mask. I will put to 660, which means that every file you get, right, with a 6, this means that every file will get the execute bit removed. Okay, and you cannot give anybody access outside of user and your group. That's this 0 here. Good. Directory mask is the same thing, except this additional one keeps the execute bit, which in case of directories means that you can browse the directory. Okay. Read only equals no. Okay. This looks pretty good. I will save this, exit, and restart SMBD, which is the name of the daemon. Okay. Let's look into the status. Active running. And yeah, I had unset the bind address, so this should already be accessible remotely. Let's try and connect through Dolphin. With SMB : // and okay, what do we see here? We see the share. Okay, but if we want to access the share, then we'll have to log in. And yeah, at this point we have the problem. Yeah, I'm using the user pi, which I'm using here also, right? But yeah, I'm still not allowed to access it because for the simple reason that I haven't registered this user in Samba yet. Okay. So I have this user as a user in my Linux system, right? So in get end password, the user exists, but I haven't told Samba yet that I want this user to be allowed to use Samba. Okay, and how do we do that? We do that with SMB password -a for adding the user pi. Now we have to give him a password. Okay, and if I now try to access this with the password that I had just set, well, it allows me access, but it says the directory doesn't exist. And yeah, that makes sense. I used a directory that didn't yet exist, and I haven't created it yet. So let's do that now. Server Samba and server Samba KRB5 test. Okay, and let's put just some file in there. Okay. And yeah, now I will, yeah, let's see if we access it now. And it gives us the file. I'm actually a bit surprised about that, because I haven't given access to the user pi to the directory, but yeah, anyways, let's start looking into the Kerberos authentication now. Yeah, we've done this a few times already, right? When you do Kerberos authentication, what you normally need is a dedicated principal that the program will use for the communication with the server, right? And yeah, you have to put the password for that principal into a key tab, and yeah, then tell the program that you want it to use Kerberos and use this principal and get its password from that key tab, right? And yeah, in Samba it's similar, but there are a few differences. Yeah, let's start by creating the principal. Kadmin. Okay, I'm logged into Kadmin, and now I will create the principal. Add principal, random key. But here's an important difference. That's one of the things that are wrong in this tutorial on ubuntu.com. Here it just says add the principal, right? But Samba apparently changed something lately, where in some cases it doesn't allow metadata in the Kerberos tickets, and in some cases it requires them, and yeah, I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, here's this discussion on serverfault.com, actually a pretty recent discussion. There's a very good answer down here by this U1686 Gravity, who explains all this, and I don't think I would have figured this out by now if it weren't for that discussion here. So what we need to do is we need to add an option plus no underscore auth underscore data underscore required. Okay. And the username that we will give it is CIFS for Common Internet File System / the fully qualified host name of the server. So KRB5 SSH server .engelmann.local. Okay, and by the way, we can say get principal CIFS KRB5 SSH server .engelmann.local. Here we can now see attributes, no auth data required. That's an attribute that we can have, and otherwise we could use mod principle, I could remove that, for example, by no auth data required. Okay, if we now say get principal, the attribute is gone. But as I said, we need this attribute, so I will add it again, and there it is again. Okay, so the principal exists now. So now we have to export the password to a keytab file. So kt add -k. I will put that into etc Samba krb5.keytab CIFS krb5 ssh server. Okay, so I've created the keytab file. That's another thing that's not, at least not 100% correct here. Here in this tutorial on ubuntu.com, it says that we have to specify the encryption for that file. This just isn't the case anymore. We can just use the normal keytab export, and yeah. So the principal exists, the keytab is exported, and we are now done with kadmin. Okay, now to configure Samba to use this Kerberos, we go back to etc Samba smb.conf. And yeah, now up here under global settings, first of all, we set the security to, well, the ubuntu.com tutorial says we should set the security to ADS, but yeah, that's another thing that's not correct anymore. So I will set this to auto, and then because it is set to auto, we can then control the login using the setting down here, server role, standalone server. Okay, that's the setting that we need, standalone server and security auto. Okay, then we need to set a realm. Then we need to tell it to encrypt passwords. Okay, and then we can set Kerberos method equals dedicated keytab, and dedicated keytab file equals etc Samba krb5.keytab. Okay, so I've configured it to use this keytab file that we've created, and yeah, this keytab file only contains one principal, and yeah, Samba is a bit eager there and figures out the principal on its own by having this principal from that keytab. So we don't actually set the principal anywhere here. I don't even think you can set the principal, and I don't think we need the workgroup anymore. Okay, save, exit, restart the server. Let's look into the status. It's running. Okay, this is all looking good. So let's try accessing this through Kerberos. And for that, well, I have my user WYOOS logged in. I have a Kerberos ticket for that user. So let's try looking into the server using SMB client. With -K, we tell it to use Kerberos. And with -L, we are asking for the list of shares. So KRB5 server. And yeah, look at that. Here we have the share with the comment hello. And let's now look into that share. SMB client -K on KRB5 SSH server. And with -C, yeah, I mean, Samba is mainly an RPC server, so we can execute commands on the server. And yeah, well, Samba is, of course, designed to be compatible with Windows, right? So the commands that we can use here now are generally the commands that you would have on Windows. So if we want to look into the share KRB5 test, then in that share we could run the dir command, which is a directory listing, so it should give us a list of all files in that directory. Okay, access denied. Yeah, I'm now trying to do this with the user WYOOS, right? And while that user exists on the server, because I had already created it for the SQL server, so the user exists, the user also exists on the Kerberos server, and I have a ticket for it on this laptop. But the problem now is this is again a user that we haven't told Samba to give access to, right? So again, SMB password, add write your own operating system, give it a password. Okay, added user WYOOS. And now let's try again, still. I think this might be the problem. The user WYOOS is only in the group WYOOS. And down here, I had set force group users, right? I think that may be the problem. So okay, now the user is in the group users, which I'm using in the Samba server. Let's restart the Samba server for good measure. And now let's try again. Yes. Okay, here we now have a listing of the directory. We have hello.txt in there. And now let's look into the content of that file. And here, yeah, that's the content of hello.txt. So what we have done now is we have accessed this file through Samba using Kerberos Authentication, because you see I haven't been asked for a password here, right? But to demonstrate that this was really Kerberos, I will delete the Kerberos ticket, and if I try the same thing again, yeah, now it doesn't allow me to access it. So I need to log in again, and then I can access the file again. Okay. So we have objectively accessed this file through SMB using Kerberos, okay? And yeah, this is making me already quite happy, but there is a problem. Here in Dolphin, if I try to access this, yeah, let's close Dolphin and open it again. If I try to access this now, with the fully qualified host name, okay? Okay, it's giving me the file. I'm actually wondering why, because in the past I've had trouble with Dolphin on a Samba server with Kerberos Authentication. So let's look into what is going on here, okay? On the server, let's look into the access rights. Okay, so it's a directory. The owner, root, has read, write, and execute rights on it. The group has read and execute rights, and everybody else also has read and execute rights. Okay, and yeah, here on the file itself, it's the same thing. The owner, root, has read and write access, and everybody else has read access. So yeah, of course that's not very secure here. So let us make this a bit more secure. I will give it, the directory should be read, write, execute for the owner, of course. In octal notation, that's number 7. Read is 4 plus write is 2, makes 6, plus execute is 1, makes 7, right? And okay, everybody else, let's just remove all rights for everybody else, okay? So and let's do the same thing for the file, so that nobody is allowed to read, write, or execute it. The owner is allowed to read and write it, right, like here. Okay, now all the tools here are complaining. But that's actually what I want, right? I want this to be secure, right? And now as WYOOS, I don't have access here, which is correct because root is now the only one who has access. So let's give that to WYOOS. Okay, and now only WYOOS has access. So now I should be allowed to see it again. There it is. And I can access it. That's good. And what's with access from SMB client? Okay, I still get access. Let's throw away the Kerberos ticket and maybe log in a user pi. Yeah, I don't have a user pi there. No sudo. Okay, the user pi now exists. Okay, I now have a ticket for pi. Now let's see, can we now read this file? No, access denied. That is exactly what I wanted. And yeah, let's say if we now give the directory to the user pi, yes, now I'm able to access it. Yeah, okay, that's looking good. We now have much more security here, so always keep that in mind. Always keep track on who is allowed to access what. You know, every network service is always risky, right? But yeah, that's all I wanted to show you today. If you like this video, like it, share it, subscribe, and see you next time.